Hi, thank you for joining and watching my presentation. My name is Jill Roman, and this is my presentation of my program design of deal readiness, tracking for improving the information sharing between deal stakeholders and executive level management. I chose this topic because it's an existing issue that I'm dealing with at Forescout Technologies right now, and where we're extracting data from our customer relationship management tool called Salesforce.com. And we extract the data, and in a spreadsheet-like fashion, we record additional deal readiness information. So that's why I chose it, and it's basically outdated the minute you run the report, and then the way to share it has been very clunky. So that's why I chose this particular topic. Getting into the background, I definitely found there is a need for accurate deal readiness data sharing, and the existing process right now is very manual. It's delayed, and it's just been an issue over time, and a kind of a time sucker being able to having to extract that data from the system and then add additional data to it, where then stuff is changing on the first data pull as it happens. So that it's been a problem. So our first main problem question is to answer for this, develop a program design to examine the deal tracking options and to determine how different tracking systems or processes can be developed to securely share the data. My sub-questions start with what's the best application that can help solve for this, basing on usability and functionalities and a number of other things, and what's most cost effective and least amount of time to implement. And that's my number 2 sub-question. And my number 3 sub-question is, what format do we need to do executive level management need to see it in, and why do they need to see it that way? And so we can better frame the project. And then what improvements will we expect to see out of implementing a project of this nature or a program of this nature? And the objectives were to share with the executive level managers to develop the program for existing issues to benefit the entire company. So by doing this and providing this information, the goal is to help the entire company have visibility to deal readiness information and where specific deals are at and how far are they along the sales cycle. And my focus for the scope is my focus on information what's needed for the business enablement team to provide these executives with the information and to ensure that the deals are closed in a timely fashion or even more quickly than they are today. In my literature review findings, I definitely found that there is a need across all sorts of businesses and verticals for improving the sharing of information, whether it be medical, any kind of business, any kind of high-tech company of sharing the information. VCs tracking, their venture capitalists tracking different investment opportunities. It was definitely a need for it out there. And I've also learned that there can be major challenges with the gathering and sharing of information. And mostly, I think the biggest challenge would be the sensitivities and the privacy with regards to health industry, but also can directly relate to cybersecurity, which is what my business is. And so the challenges were kind of surprising in the gathering of it all, like between privacies and sensitivities and how accurate the data is and how it's shared and how the timeliness of the data as well, of the sharing of the data. I did learn that there was definitely many sales tools and tools out there and programs that exist that can help solve for this problem. Whether they can do it with our existing system or not, I think is the bigger question. So the ability to integrate with our existing customer relationship tool, management tool, which is Salesforce again, is definitely the key to the success. And the research definitely showed that as well. To be able to roll out a successful program, you should have it integrate into your existing system. It not only helps with the getting people to use it, but also the accuracy and the real-time data, which is the biggest issue right now that I've found for our business. Next is my methodology approach. So the data that I needed to collect for this project is I needed to collect data from not only the business enablement team who collects the data and puts the data into the existing fields, but also gather from the executives what information do they want to see, and in what fashion do they want to see it, or what format do they need to see it, and how often would they like to see it. And for the other questions is all these would be done through interviews. So the interview process would entail both interviewing the executives and interviewing the business enablement team members, some chosen randomly and some chosen by, with the executives just have to be chosen by availability as well and do the least amount of impact to the business. So, gathering that information. Yes, interviews are time consuming, but we do have a smaller team, and they can be a little biased, but gathering that information and understanding exactly what people want to see and how to see it and what people maybe have used in the past and be able to incorporate that. And then my other methodology approach would be to gather information through focus groups. So once we've established what fields are important to the team members, it would be picking the top 3, which is also somewhat biased because I've had to do it, but just based on my literature and what data I've already gathered, to examine those top 3 and have focus groups in both areas, examine and use the programs for a period of time over a number of days, just so that people have the time to commit to it and use it enough to be able to gather the information, record the information, and share the information, different formats if some people want it one way, if some people want another way, and just see what kind of output and what they could, through that focus group, they would fill out a questionnaire and determine which product they felt was best for the team. I would gather that information through a content analysis and review it and be able to come up with the best solution for our company. And again, the focus group testing, the cost and the timeliness for the implementation, and people's personal preferences, making sure that we can incorporate those to a certain extent. And then over time, my last question would have to be answered after we chose everything, because it would see what benefits would we see, and we're hoping to see an increase or a decrease in the amount of sales cycle, which is existing about 180-day average. And we'd want to see that decrease over time, providing this information in a real-time manner. My concluding thoughts, the research was quite difficult to find something that was directly related to my solution. However, the need was there, and so I was really impressed with the amount of data that I gathered on this topic in general, even though there wasn't much specific to my exact need, but the need in general was huge. So I had an interesting time doing that. My learning, otherwise, all that I've learned through this process, I can definitely relate it to what I'm currently using. It will drive any project that I might be faced with in the future, not just on data sharing or the securely data sharing, but also on any project that I might use. So I can use these same processes to incorporate that. And lastly would be very valuable for any project. So these techniques can be applied to anything and any situation. And I look forward to being able to use that and use it in real life cases more often. So thank you for joining, and I look forward to any questions.